Hi guys, I'm just another guy named James, and today I'm going to be talking about the Batman Arkham series. Now, Batman Arkham series is a series of video games. And I've just recently finished playing Batman Arkham Knight, which is the last in this trilogy. There's technically a prequel game that would go, right up here, Batman Arkham Origins. I don't have that game. I haven't played it, and I wasn't gonna play it for this video. But yeah, I've been playing through these games over the course of the last 8-9 months. They've been out. The first one of these, Arkham Asylum, I believe it released in 2009, so I'm pretty late to the game on these, but it's all right. My sister actually got me these for Christmas, or maybe for my birthday. My sister got these for me at one point. And I've just been enjoying playing through these games. It's been a lot of fun. But having just finished the third in the trilogy, I finished the main story. I haven't collected all the Riddler trophies yet, but still, I feel like I'm in a good spot to talk about these games. And honestly, these games are really good. They're all made by Rocksteady game developers. They did a really good job on these three games. They got the voice talents of Kevin Conroy, who has since died. May he rest in peace. And Mark Hamill, both reprising their roles from Batman the Animated Series. Mark Hamill playing the Joker, and Kevin Conroy playing Batman himself. And obviously they do an incredible job. They just have a really good sense for these characters, what they should sound like, how they should operate. And I think it's a really refreshing, it's a really cool thing to see in the video game world. A game so focused on the story and the characters and the legacy that the characters have. Even going right down to who the developers got to voice the characters. But anyway, that's a digression. We've got three games that we're talking about today. We're talking about Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. They're all three pretty good, but today I want to kind of go into them and rank them. There are a few things which I'm going to be ranking them on. I don't know which one of these colors you guys can see better, either the black or the electric blue. Hopefully the black. So we're going to rank them on story. And we're going to rank them in two ways on story. We're going to rank the story ideas and the story practices. Hopefully I spelled practices right. Spell it. Remember, throughout this video, I will spell things wrong. But that's okay, because spelling is an art, not a science. Don't worry about it. So there's three games, so everything will be ranked either first, second, or third. We'll talk about their... I don't like having everything written over there, so we'll write some stuff over here too. We'll talk about these games and their gameplay. We'll talk about, and in gameplay, we'll talk about combat, and then other. Other's going to include stealth, Batmobile, anything that's really just not hand-to-hand combat. And all of the games use similar combat systems. They'll use what's called the free flow combat system. It feels very smooth in all of the games, but it definitely feels different game to game. Let's see. Yeah, combat, other, that's 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we'll go on to setting. And setting is just like, setting will take into account the atmosphere, the vibes, what there is to do in each environment, and kind of a couple of other things that we'll just see how I throw in there. We're gonna dive into the games just going in order of release, which also just so happens to be story order. And one of the cool things about the Arkham trilogy is they're all three connected to each other pretty well. Obviously Asylum is the first. It is connected to City and then to Knight, and it's the story connects together in some pretty satisfying ways without making it feel so overbearing. Where if you didn't play Arkham Asylum, you're gonna have no idea what's going on in Arkham City. The bridge between Arkham City and Arkham Knight is pretty crucial, which is actually kind of a problem because they came out on different generations of video game hardware. Arkham City and Arkham Asylum both originally came out for the Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era video games, while Arkham Knight came out for the PS4, Xbox One era. I didn't play any of these games on any of those consoles. However, I played them all on the Switch in the Arkham trilogy, and I definitely ran into some performance issues playing Arkham Knight on the Switch. But I will do my best to ignore the performance issues I had and look at the game as objectively as I can. But if Arkham Knight's your favorite, you might want to be patient. All right. So overall themes of the story that we're gonna want to be aware of. There are a few characters. I also want to rank each game based on characters. 2 and 3. And that'll be which game has the best character roster, which game uses its character roster the best, which game uses its character roster the worst, or has the worst characters. And that will be mostly referring to the villains. There are a few characters that appear in all of the games. Obviously, Batman is in all 3 games. Batman. Joker is in all 3 games. There are a few others. Harley Quinn's in all 3 games. She doesn't do much in any of these 3 games. She's a boss in Arkham Knight. She's kind of just there in Arkham Asylum. She gets thrown into a wall in Arkham City. But that's about it. Batman and Joker are your main 2 characters. They're the ones that really drive the plot forward for all 3 games. There are additional characters who are important in their own game. Batman and Joker do most of the driving forward for the series. And then let's see, is there anyone else? There are a few side characters who appear in all the games. Calendar Man is in all 3 games. You don't fight him. He's not a boss. Most of the time you just see him standing there in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. I think he's the answer to one of the riddles. All of these games have little riddles that you have to solve using the detective mode scanner. Some of them are better than others. And then all of the games have Riddler trophies, which are the main collectible throughout the game. They'll have destructible objects, which are just another way of getting a Riddler trophy. And then there are some collectibles unique to each game. So Batman, Joker, and Riddler are in all 3 games. Batman and Joker are the main driving forces of the story. Riddler is hardly ever relevant to the story, but is always relevant to the gameplay. Riddler, again, he drives the collectible 100% kind of grindy part of the game, but still it's an important part of the game. But yeah, let's see. I think we're ready. I think that should be plenty of background or plenty of information on the structure that this video is going for. And we should be good to start actually talking about these games. So let's start with talking about Asylum. For each of the games, I'm going to give a brief rundown on the story as best as I can remember it. Okay, Arkham Asylum. In Arkham Asylum, we open on the Joker being taken into custody in, surprise, surprise, Arkham Asylum. And as Joker is being taken in, he escapes and he takes over the asylum. And we discover that Joker has been plotting this for quite a while, and he has everything really well thought out. And Joker runs amok through the asylum, and he's created this enhanced version of Bane's venom called Titan Formula with the help of one of the doctors in the asylum. And the Titan Formula basically, and Joker throughout the game uses the Titan Formula to turn his henchmen into these big hulking Titan brutes that you have to fight. That's what a lot of the boss battles look like, is the Titan brutes. So Batman has to figure out how to how to cure Titan poisoning, and he does that. He figures it out with the help of Bane, Poison Ivy, and throughout there you run in and you find Killer Croc. You beat him up. You beat Victor Zsasz up. Scarecrow is running around. Batman has to stop all of these villains before he finally makes it up to the top of the asylum, where he has this big confrontation with the Joker. And Batman and Joker, so Joker basically just injects Batman with the Titan Formula. Batman uses his newly found cure on himself, and then Joker injects himself with Titan Formula, and you have to beat Titan Joker in a fight. The Titan Joker fight is not very cool, I'll be honest. You mostly just fight his henchmen, but you end with this. But eventually, Batman is able to beat him up using the final gadget that he unlocks, the Ultra Bat Claw, and that's kind of just it. Batman beats Joker. That's the end. The only boss that you haven't already beaten up to this point in the game is the Riddler. Riddler, you don't even actually get to see him beat. He is only defeated once you collect all the Riddler trophies, which is actually the way it works in all of the Arkham games. You don't get to beat Riddler's the last boss you beat in every single one of them, and you have to solve all the riddles first. Yeah, so that's Arkham Asylum. There are a few really cool things about Asylum that are completely unique to it. Asylum is the only game without an open world, so that is either a point up or a point down in the settings column. I think it's a point up because it makes the story flow together a lot better. And speaking of story, I think Asylum has some pretty good ideas for its story, but definitely not the best. But I do think it has the best practice because the main story doesn't feel optional the way it does in Arkham City, and even worse in Arkham Knight. The main story in Arkham Asylum really does feel like the thing that you are there for. It is what you are doing throughout the game, and it's really nice. The story flows together really well. You flow really well between bosses and Predator sections. It's nice that if you're just paying attention and actually exploring the areas, you're gonna find almost all of the Riddler trophies. The riddles themselves feel pretty good. They feel very solvable. They make sense. If you know Batman lore and mythos, it'll help you a lot. You'll be able to solve a lot of the riddles a lot easier. Asylum does have a few unique collectibles that really add a lot to the element, to the vibe, to the setting, to the environment of the asylum itself. And that is the interview tapes with a few of the patients. I believe Riddler, Joker, Scarecrow, and Victor Zsasz all have tapes. Maybe Harley Quinn too. I can't actually remember. But I think those tapes do a lot to add to the Asylum. They also do a lot to add to the characters. I think Asylum has a really good character roster, and all of the characters are used pretty well. Victor Zsasz isn't used very well, but but it feels like he's mostly there to build up the fear factor. I like all the varying gameplay sections that you have for each boss. That Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc all have their very unique feeling combat sections. Even Bane being one of the first Titan bosses you fight. I think that a lot of the other gameplay besides the like direct free flow combat feels really good in Asylum. I don't. I'll have to see what I think about it in comparison to City, but I think the free flow combat is probably the worst in the series here. But that makes sense. It's the first one, and it's still really good. It's certainly not bad. But the other collectible that really adds a lot to the setting is the Arkham Chronicles. The Arkham Chronicles they're technically part of the Riddler trophies, but they tell a completely separate story. They're these little placards that you find scattered throughout the asylum, and you scan them in and you learn about the history of Arkham and its founder, Amadeus Arkham, and how the current warden of Arkham Asylum is actually planning to carry on the twisted legacy of Amadeus Arkham. This does create a little bit of a plot hole because why does Batman not take down the warden? Why does he not accuse him of these crimes? Long story short, we don't know. I watched a little YouTube video that was kind of like fan theorizing about it. Do I remember what the conclusion of that video was? Certainly not. But anyway, I think overall Arkham Asylum ranks pretty neatly for me into a lot of these into the first or second place slots. The combat's the worst. There's no open world for you to explore, but I think that really plays to the benefit of this game. It helps you feel like you're running through an environment that you don't have any control over. But yeah, I think the gameplay just feels really good in Asylum. The flow through the story is really nice. It doesn't feel too backed up. It doesn't feel like the story's optional like it can in the later games. I just think that Asylum really does do a good job balancing its characters and its atmosphere and its gameplay all together all at once. You get a lot of really distinct areas, both inside the asylum and outside of it. The sewers feel really cool and dingy, the botanical gardens. And that's really a lot of where this game I think is very excellent. But I think that's all I've got to say on Asylum. Let's get ready to move on to Arkham City. So, Arkham City. Arkham City is the direct sequel to Arkham Asylum. I don't know how long after Arkham Asylum it takes place, but it takes place well enough afterwards that a lot of the characters have kind of moved on from where they were at in Asylum. One thing that I don't remember if I touched on when speaking about Arkham Asylum is one of the characters definitely dies, or is definitely you're supposed to think he's dead. And that's Scarecrow. After your final confrontation with Scarecrow in Asylum, he gets attacked by Killer Croc and dragged off into the sewer system. Through our boss battle with Killer Croc in the sewers, we know that Killer Croc just eats people. He just be eating people. So what on earth was he doing? So what on earth happened to Scarecrow? We don't know, but he's presumed dead by the time City starts. Anyway, so in Arkham City, the story is... honestly, it's a lot more complicated. So the game kind of opens as this new city is opening. It's called, surprise, surprise, Arkham City. And Arkham City is this prison city, again, governed by, I believe, Quincy Sharp. And behind the scenes, we learned that Arkham City was funded and created by Ra's al Ghul and Hugo Strange. So Hugo Strange is this scientist. He was a therapist at Arkham Asylum, and he kind of helped. And in Arkham City, he is getting all the prisoners locked up in there. And then once he knows they're all inside, he's going to activate what's called Protocol 10, and he's going to kill all of them. And Batman is like, hey, what if we didn't do that, gang? So Bruce Wayne, the game opens with Bruce Wayne objecting heavily to that, and then he is thrown into Arkham City, where he's attacked by several people, including the Penguin. He beats them as Bruce Wayne, then he suits up as Batman, and you run around and you solve, and you're trying to stop Hugo Strange, and you learn that he's working with Ra's al Ghul, and that they're all working with Quincy Sharp. and they're all kind of working together on this project. And then another story element arrives, maybe pretty pretty darn early in the game, when Batman goes to the steel mill in Arkham City and confronts the Joker. And Joker is and we see that the Joker is dying. But Joker transfuses some of his blood into Batman so that Batman will create a cure. I think I just unplugged my Wi-Fi router. Hold. But yeah, so Joker infuses Batman with his blood, which was infected by the Titan formula, and Joker's dying. Long story short. And Joker also plans to send his blood out to a bunch of the hospitals outside of the city, but Batman has Robin getting on that. So we're introduced to the new character of Robin, who is completely absent from Arkham Asylum. We then see Joker is infected with Batman is infected with Joker's blood. Batman and Joker are both dying. Batman then creates a cure for the Joker toxin with the help of Mr. Freeze, and Batman goes to confront the Joker, but the Joker is now Clayface, or Clayface has been impersonating the Joker throughout the game, so that Joker appears to be healthy even though he is dying. So we have this really cool boss fight with Clayface, and then we move on to... And then we kind of move on. We beat Hugo Strange and Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul dies. He gets freaking impaled on a fence. And eventually we go in for our final confrontation with Joker. We kind of stop his master plan. We as Batman cure ourselves using the cure developed by Mr. Freeze. Get it out to the hospitals. And then the Joker dies. And the game ends with Batman carrying Joker out of Arkham City, and it's a really good game. Honestly, the game flows together pretty well. The story is fun to play through. Arkham City is fun to explore. There's really cool stuff happening. There are a lot of characters there's a ton of freaking characters in this game. For the first time, you get a second playable character in the form of Catwoman. There's a whole Catwoman like mission side story going on where you play as her. Then there are collectibles in the open world for Catwoman to collect. She's pretty fun to play as. Not as cool as Batman though. Come on, let's be for real. But yeah, throughout the game you fight so many freaking villains. It's kind of crazy. So throughout the story, you fight Joker, Clayface, Ra's al Ghul, Solomon Grundy, Harley Quinn. Again, you kind of just slam her into a wall. The Penguin, Hugo Strange, and Mr. Freeze are all just there. They're just in the game. You fight some of them. Some of them help you. Some of them help you, and they fight you. It's cool. And then out in the open world, you have even more characters. Characters like Deadshot and Black Mask, who you fight as Catwoman, I believe. Two-Face, who again, you mostly fight as Catwoman. Deadshot, Hush, Mad Hatter, the Riddler, again, of course. Mr. Zaz, Mr. Freeze. This game really does do a good job balancing its story content with all of its additional content. And honestly, I would say the story ideas presented in Batman Arkham City are top tier. They're the best. And Arkham City does do a good job balancing its ideas into its practices. There's just a few moments throughout where it kind of just feels like you're wandering around the city and you're supposed to do side quests until something happens that allows you to do the main story, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of just breaks the flow of the story, which kind of lessens its impact in practice. I think that the gameplay is actually the additional gameplay, not counting the free flow system, is really good in Arkham City. let's see, combat, I would go City in second for the free flow. City does a really good job with its boss battles. Fighting Clayface is a ton of fun. Solomon Grundy is really creative. Miss Mad Hatter is creative in a really good way. A lot of the boss fights in the story and the kind of additional gameplay sections do feel really good in Arkham City, and it feels nice. Let's see the characters. City's got the best roster of characters by far. City is overall just like it's got all of the Batman villains you could possibly want, except I guess it doesn't have Poison Ivy. It definitely doesn't have Scarecrow, but like I said, he's supposed to be presumed dead. You do get hints that he's alive throughout Arkham City, but but yeah, Arkham City it has a really good roster of characters. You get introduced to the wider Batman family with Robin showing up. Oracle is, I believe, your assistant throughout all three Arkham games. I don't remember if she's there in Arkham Asylum or not. But in Arkham City, you get Robin for the first time. You get in the additional kind of like arcade style gameplay bits. You can play as Nightwing. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. The characters are just really good. All of these characters are used really well. Their side stories feel really creative. The Hush side story is really intriguing. You've got this guy who's cutting apart people's faces to kind of patchwork himself. And at the end of the game, you learn that he's patchworked himself into a copy of Bruce Wayne, but you have no idea who he really is. And it's all right. It's cool, and it's a thread that's left dangling for the next game. I don't love where the next game goes with it, but we haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, a lot of these characters are really cool. It's cool that you get to play as a character that's not just Batman. Catwoman plays kind of similar, but just a little harder. She doesn't have detective mode, obviously, which is the like vision filter that allows you to see skeletons and health bars and whether or not people have guns. The gadget game is pretty good in Arkham City. But yeah, the setting, Arkham City itself is going in second place. It has that similar thing to the Asylum where you're on the bad guy's home turf. Really cool subsections throughout the city. You get Penguin's Museum, you get the subway, you get Wonder City. These are all really cool. The museum is probably my favorite. It's just really cool. Between the Iceberg Lounge, the actual museum part, it's just really cool. It's really creepy in the museum. I like it. It really adds a lot to the vibes that are always kind of been there in Arkham, in the Arkham games. Yeah, City's setting really does is very additive to it. Also, it was a really bold choice for Rocksteady to kill off Joker in their second Batman game. Crazy choice. I think it was a good choice, really good for the story of this game and even for the story of the Batman Arkham series in general. But it's a bold choice, and I respect it. I just wanted to call that out. Yeah, honestly, a lot of this game, a lot of Arkham City just comes across as really well balanced. The ideas are balanced really well into the setting, which is all really well balanced by the characters. The characters feel alive and cool and fun to fight, fun to fight as or fun to see. And that's really something that they do really well. They don't relegate a lot of those characters to just being references like they did in Arkham Asylum. They actually go in on them. They create cool gameplay sections for them. They create story reasons for characters like Clayface to be there. I think City overall does a really good job just balancing being a Arkham Knight. So Arkham Knight is really interesting. It's got a very long story. But let's see. So Arkham Knight's the one I played the most recently, obviously. But let's get into it. So Arkham Knight opens and Scarecrow has infected a bunch of parts of Gotham City with fear toxin, setting up that he is going to be the main villain of the game. We as Batman go to Ace Chemicals to try to stop Scarecrow. And Scarecrow kind of just infects us with a bunch of fear toxin, and we start hallucinating seeing the Joker. We then cut back to a few weeks earlier where Batman had learned that there were a bunch of Joker like clones or like people who had been infected by Joker's blood who were running around Gotham. So Batman captures all of them, and eventually he learns that he is the fifth. And because of that, Joker is going to be slowly trying to take over his body throughout the game. How Joker does that just through the means of his blood, I have no idea. Straight up, I don't know how that's supposed to work. But anyway, that's a digression. So as the game continues, we are introduced to a new character who is working with Scarecrow to try to stop Batman from saving the day. And that is the Arkham Knight. Fun fact, who the game's named after. And the Arkham Knight seems to know a lot about Batman, but Batman has no idea who he is. And as the game continues, we eventually learn that the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd, who was the second Robin who Joker murdered, or who was presumed murdered by the Joker, but who clearly never actually died. At least in this universe. In the mainline universe, yes, he's dead. He was dead. But so once Batman kind of talks to Arkham Knight, who eventually becomes the Red Hood, and Arkham Knight kind of is more chill with him now. But throughout the game, Oracle, Commissioner Gordon, and Robin have all been kidnapped. Batman is able to save Oracle. Then from Scarecrow, Scarecrow kidnaps Robin. And at the end of the game, Scarecrow demands that Batman be come and confront Scarecrow face to face, man to man, but he has to take off his mask, revealing his identity to the world. And Batman does it. Batman's identity is revealed to the world. Scarecrow pumps him up full of fear toxin, and Batman then a lot of the gameplay here becomes just this mental battle with the Joker inside of Batman's mind. It's a kind of a cool idea, but it just plays really weird. And eventually you're able to like overpower the fear toxin, push Scarecrow's arm back into himself, inject him with his own fear toxin, and then from there you're able to take him down. And that's kind of and after you take him down, you go back to Wayne Manor, and then it blows up. And I know there's a little bit more to that after you collect all the Riddler trophies. I can't be bothered in this game. The Arkham Knight, the Riddler trophies are so much more annoying than they were in Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, because Arkham Knight doesn't really have big sections that you explore like City and Asylum do. It's mostly just all about it's about the main story and the side stories. And you may have noticed here, I've left the bottom slots open for both of the story slots. And that's because Arkham Knight's story is kind of interesting, you know? The idea of combining like Under the Red Hood with a Scarecrow story, with a couple of other things, it's not a terrible idea. But combining it but having the whole Joker corrupting Batman thing in there too, it just kind of overcomplicates the story in a way that isn't fun. The combat though, the free flow combat in Arkham Knight feels so good. The other gameplay sections feel not as good. Why am I writing gameplay? In Arkham Knight feel not as good. And in Night you get the Batmobile for the first time, and it sucks. And again, I played this on the Switch. I had massive performance issues anytime I was doing a Batmobile race. The races in the Batmobile were terrible. Driving around in tank mode in those combat sections with it, they were more fun. I like that better. But the fact that you fight half of the bosses in this game in the tank, and there's a lot of characters in Arkham Knight. You've got Man-Bat, Firefly, Professor Pig, Hush, Scarecrow, Deathstroke, Riddler, Harley Quinn, Two-Face, Penguin, Deacon, Blackfire, and of course the Arkham Knight. And in your own head you have Joker. Then in the DLC, which is included in my version of the game, you also have Mad Hatter, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, and Nissa Al Ghul wrapping up some stuff from Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. But really, overall, this game, Arkham Knight just really suffers from from using the Batmobile on so many of these characters. You use it in the Firefly boss fight. You use it in the Deathstroke boss fight. You use it in one of the Arkham Knight boss fights. In the ways you take down Deacon Blackfire and Hush, it's basically just a quick time event. And Hush, again, was one of the only threads left to unravel from Arkham City. So a lot of the characters in Arkham Knight are kind of just wasted. You do get cool sections with all of your ally characters, though. Robin's a big part of the game. Throughout the Penguin side stories, you're playing with Night. You have the option to play as Nightwing. Throughout the Killer Croc side story in the DLC, again, you can play as Nightwing. The Riddler trophies, or the Riddler mission, is you and Catwoman playing together. In a lot of those areas, I think the game is very fun. A lot of the gadgets are fun to use. There's really good stealth combat, but the actual hand-to-hand combat's really good. The stealth combat's good, but the Batmobile sections are so bad that I just have to put it down low, down here. Gotham City, the setting, is not fun to explore at all. Once you beat all of the bosses, you really don't want to go back and collect all the Riddler trophies. And the Riddler trophies don't stand out. The riddles themselves aren't very creative. The destructible objects are not very noticeable. They don't, and the gameplay just doesn't feel very fun and good. The gameplay, the main story of the game is constantly interrupted in these moments where you are given a choice to either go and upgrade the Batmobile or go and do side missions. But it's in moments where it doesn't feel like that should be an option. It's in these moments where Oracle's been kidnapped. You can either go and rescue her, or you can go and upgrade the Batmobile, or you can go and do a side mission. The upgrades, the fact that you have to do the augmented reality bonus gameplay sections, if you want to be able to fully upgrade your suit, is also annoying. If you want to fully upgrade your whole skill tree, that's also really annoying because a lot of the AR trainings aren't very fun. And by aren't very fun, I mean they aren't fun. Arkham Knight really does suffer from getting a lot of ideas just too big for its britches. And yeah, it's just not a very fun game to play. Two-Face and Penguin feel very missable in the game. For whatever reason, Nightwing is chosen to help you fight Penguin when he really should be the one helping you fight Deathstroke, because that's a great rivalry. But honestly, a lot of Arkham Knight just doesn't feel like a very good conclusion to Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. The stuff with the Joker in it is really cool. In Arkham Knight, that's all really good. I think even some of the stuff with the Red Hood. But the Scarecrow stuff, the actual gameplay loop, it just doesn't feel good. And then the final moments just feel... It doesn't feel earned, honestly. And then, yeah, it's not a great game. It was made for the next-gen hardware, but if you hadn't already played Arkham City, you were going to be so confused. Even though this released on a console a generation later. Honestly, it's definitely the worst of the trilogy, but it's not that bad. Overall, I would still say I would still say I just recommend you to pick up the Arkham Trilogy bundle. I know it came out for the Switch. I assume it came out for the PS5 and the Xbox. Whatever the newest Xbox is, I can't even remember what it's called, but I know it's on the Switch. I would definitely recommend it. It's good value. They're good games. It's a lot of fun. You really do get to feel like Batman, especially in City and Asylum. Less so in Night, kind of. But the games really do a good job making you feel like you are Batman and you are running around and you are solving these mysteries and you are beating up these villains. They strike a really good balance with all that. But I think that's really all I've got to say on these games. They're good. Some of them are great. Yeah, I would end up ranking these. I would just rank it by release order, honestly. First goes to Asylum. Second goes to City. Third goes to Night. Now, I do recognize Asylum definitely is not the best. City, objectively, is better. So I would, so if you wanted me to, like, if I really wanted to, I could switch them like that. I think City really stands on the merit of its story and its characters and all that. I just really like Asylum. I like City's open world is really good. I really like Asylum. I like the story. I like the setting. I like the vibes. I like that it's not an open world. But like I said, I think number one is generally agreed. It's either this one or this one, and then Night is down here. Night's not terrible. I'll be. It's just not as good as the other two, and it's not even really that good, that much of a comparison. I would still definitely recommend all of these games, but yeah, I think that's really all I've got on the actual gameplay. I do want to apologize for all of the random cuts in this video. It's not really normally my style, but I was having some issues with my camera. But hopefully it wasn't too noticeable. I'm obviously saying this before I've edited it all together, edited out all of any of the, like, me walking into my spot in front of the camera. So we'll see how it all ends up playing out together, but I'm really hoping it works out well. But honestly, that's really all I've got on these games. I would say that they're definitely worth playing. But yeah. Anyways, I'm just another guy named James, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.